welcome to pitch deconstruction and pitch practice at StartUpNV. I'm going to spend a few minutes on StartUpNV. We are an incubator and accelerator program, and we help startups kind of get through the process that you see on the screen, from idea all the way to generating revenue and raising capital. So over the course of the last 3 years that we've been around, we've heard 450 pitches from different companies who wanted to get into the program. 48 of them have been admitted. 17 have raised, I have to update that last number because it's closer to $50 million now than 40 million. And we're pretty proud of that fact, except for the fact that less than 1% of the money raised by our startups has come from investors inside the state of Nevada. So we've started with programs like AngelNV to create new angel investors in the state of Nevada who can invest at the earliest stages of our startups here at home in our state. So we do have 5 programs altogether for the startup ecosystem here in the state. Our main one is our 9-month accelerator program, where we work with up to 10 companies at a time and really work hard on getting capital raised within that period of time. That's the main goal of that program. We have our virtual incubator program for startups who aren't quite as far along as the folks who are in the accelerator program. It's meant to prepare folks for the accelerator program. And we just launched that, or we actually launched the beta of that last week. And we're still looking for 5 more founders to be part of the beta for that. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, a little bit more in just a minute. We have our own fund, FundNV, which provides funding to the companies that are in the accelerator program. They don't all get funded, but they get the opportunity to pitch for funding. And now that there's only 10 in the program, a greater percentage of those companies will get funded over the 9-month period that they're in that program. And finally, the program that you're all involved in, the AngelNV program. And there's 2 parts to it. The main goal of it, when we started it, was to create new angel investors in Nevada. And we're patterning our program after 2 successful programs in California, the San Diego Angel Conference and AngelCon out of San Luis Obispo. And Mysty and Judy run those 2 conferences and are here with us tonight and have been supporting us and coaching us through this process to make our program as successful as they've made theirs. So the first part of the program that we're in the middle of is a founder boot camp that teaches founders what angels want and how to get organized and get yourself in the best possible position to raise capital from angels. The other part of the program for us starts in January, where we collect 40 accredited investors, and those 40 humans each put $5,000 into a fund, creating a total fund of $200,000. We teach those angels how to be good angels, how to find deal flow, how to value a company, how to do due diligence, all the things that angels need to know to be successful. And at the end of that boot camp, which for us happens on March the 25th, they pick one company, one of the folks probably on this call today, to invest $200,000 in. So all of the work that you're going through right now will hopefully lead to a $200,000 investment. So the schedule is, as you've already heard, starts in September, ends in December for the founders. For the angels, it starts in January and ends in March, and that's when the winner from the founder side will receive their investment of $200,000. So a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to turn it over to Judy. So you can catch up on all our prior sessions on YouTube. There's a playlist out there, the AngelNV Founder Bootcamp. All of our sessions are recorded out there. You can watch them all. We do need 5 more companies for our founder, our online beta program for the virtual incubator. So if you're interested in that, please send an email to Audrey and put virtual beta interest in somewhere in your subject line so she recognizes that's what it's for. All of the assets that we put to work for our founders in our accelerator program are available to consume in the virtual incubator program, more on a self-service basis and on a self-paced basis, and without the restrictions that we have in the accelerator program. And the big announcement for tonight is our funding applications for the Angel Bootcamp, where you're actually applying to the angels for the $200,000, is officially opened. It's been open for about an hour, and you can find it on Gust at the link you see there on your screen. We're going to start hooking that link up, that long, awkward link up to a button so that you can just go on the website and push it. But for those of you who want to get a jump on it, just take a screenshot or write it down. Don't misspell anything, and go on there and start getting your application together. I think everybody knows it because we've been pretty explicit about it. The only thing that costs money out of this whole program is there is a $149 application fee to apply to the Angels. It is non-refundable. The only condition under which we would refund the money is if for some reason we don't put the Angel conference on and there is no investment, in which case everybody gets their money back. But we don't think that's going to happen. So you want to be sure that you're ready to go and that you have absorbed all of this education and that that you've got a shot at getting that $200,000. So that's all open now. We look forward to starting to see some of the applications coming in any day now. So we'll see you out there. And then thanks to our sponsors, they help us pay to put on this program: Assure, Carta, Silicon Valley Bank, Arsentia, City of Las Vegas, and the SBDC are all folks who have donated time, money, and resources to us. And then we have our community sponsors, the Latin Chamber, the Urban Chamber, LVGEA, and SCORE out of Las Vegas, have all helped us with promotion and other things to put this on. And then finally, I think most of you know all of these pieces of contact information, but I'll end on this slide just to give you a chance to write it down or take a screenshot in case you'd like to get a hold of me, or you want to follow up on any of the information that I kind of flashed by there over the past 5 minutes or so. So again, welcome everybody to AngelNV and our pitch practice and pitch deconstruction. There's going to be a whole bunch of pitching tonight, and I really look forward to hearing it. And I will turn it over to Judy at this point, and she will take us through the rules of the road, and she's going to be our MC and kind of keep us marching and on time tonight. So Judy, thanks so much for being here, and over to you to lead us onward.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Really looking forward to hearing some pitches tonight. Very exciting night for all of us. Before we launch in, I'm just going to give you some quick, best practices, tips for those of you who want to maybe edit a little as you go this time. And I'll start right away. So the purpose here is a 1-minute pitch. We'll go down the list. I'll call each person to come in and do their pitch one after the other. We won't give feedback after each 1-minute pitch. We will give a sort of summary feedback and highlight a couple of examples after all those pitches are done. We'll hear from our judges. Our judges will be able to lean in and provide some feedback as well. And then when you're ready, we will launch into 3-minute pitches for those of you who have their slides ready and who are able to do the 3-minute pitch with slides. So before we start, real quick, one thing I want to, if there's nothing else that you remember from what I say tonight, there's one thing I want to leave with you. Tell, don't sell. Please remember, you're not here to sell your product, your service. You're here to talk to investors. So remember who your audience is. You're here to talk to them. You want, the best way to start is a strong opening line. 80% of your success will be determined by that first sentence that comes out of your mouth. And a great way to start, a way that I always enjoy, that captivates me out the door is, did you know that? And explain who your customer category is. Plug it in right there and then. Did you know that whoever your customer is experience, and explain the pain that they experience? And it's a question mark. You're engaging with your audience. I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a pretend company called Super Reports. Did you know that on average, marketers spend half of their workday pulling data and creating reports instead of spending their time on revenue generating activities? And then I'm going to launch into what Super Reports does for them. But that's an interesting piece of information. There's a strong pain point. Marketers are spending half of their work days doing something that they shouldn't, that would be better spent doing other things. Then the second point that you want to launch into right away, the very key factor for investors is they want to know how big your market is. And this is the chance to just quickly outline the market. There are X million number of marketers in the US. Just plug it in. And then explain what your product or service does. What's your value prop? How are you creating value with a product or service that you've created? Talk about your product. What's its name? What category is it in? And what is the value that it adds? What's the biggest benefit that it provides to the marketer? Don't talk about the features. Don't talk about all the bells and whistles. Just what is the biggest benefit without using any jargon, in as much plain English as possible. So here with my example I started with, I could say, Super Reports, that's the name of my product, automatically pulls data from all the systems that I'm using into an easy to share dashboard in less than 30 seconds. Bam. That's a huge value prop. I'm saving 4 hours of time each day to the marketer. That's a big value prop. Then you want to quickly address the competition. So unlike XYZ competition, we do this. And what's your key differentiator? So for example, I could say, unlike HubSpot, we use AI in a Siri manner where I can ask the software, I need a bar chart of all the revenue for each of my lead sources. And my product will provide that result immediately in less than 30 seconds. So not only have I highlighted the competition, and then I've explained how we do it better. Then you can spend one quick line outlining your team. Who are your experts and why are they qualified to be able to pull this off? Who's the co-founding team? Explain briefly who they are, and then quickly launch into how you're going to make money. That's important. Investors want to know how you're going to generate revenue. That's key. And last but not least, a quick summary. So you can compare yourself using an analogy to compare yourself to another system. For example, I know that I had heard once a elevator pitch for Trello. Trello helps you manage projects, and you could say, Trello says we are the digital version of whiteboarding with Post-it notes. Post-it notes, everyone knows what a Post-it note is. The analogy is clear. That's a nice segue into summarizing what it is that you do, who you are. And then at the very end, I think a very nice way to end the pitch is to talk about some key milestones, some key accomplishment that you've done, that you've hit in the last 3 months. Maybe it could be your total number of customers. Maybe you have monthly recurring revenue. Maybe you filed a patent. But leave some good news, some accomplishment, traction, some information for your investors so they can walk away with oh, okay, wow, this is interesting. Like, not only is this a really interesting product or service, you give me a ton of information, but there's traction here. This is really interesting. I want to know more. And always close with an ask. You need to ask a question when you're done. It could be about how much you're raising, whether the person's interested in hearing more, etc. So I know that I went really, really fast, but I wanted to give you some key talking points that would all be good to include into your 1-minute pitch. It seems like a lot, but it's doable. It's doable literally in 6 sentences. And we'll definitely, for those of you who are asking, I can summarize what I've just illustrated and we'll share that with you. So we'll launch right in, we'll get a timer going, and our very first speaker is Mani. Is Mani ready to jump in? Let's see. I'm gonna look at our list to see where we're at.
Yes,
Oh.
Manny and Steve have been promoted already. Manny will go first and then Steve, and shortly after that, Manny will be demoted and somebody else will be promoted.
Perfect. So Mani, when you're ready, we'll.
Okay. I'm Manny Garcia. I'm the founder of Sherman Industries. I invented and patented the self-retaining data receptacle. It was my first patent, and the process took a long time. So long that by the time I was granted my patent, the self-retaining data receptacle industry had become a $6 million industry. Last year, they earned $8 million. I hold patents in the US and Taiwan. I'm patent pending in the US, Canada, Japan, China, Taiwan. I hold trademarks in the US, Canada, Japan, and Taiwan, and I'm UL listed in the US and Canada. Not only is my product better than my competition, I have total jurisdiction over my industry, from factory to shelf. A $2 million investment will go toward production, marketing, team building, and legal. I can remove and replace my competition overnight. There's $11 million available in my market, with $8 million completely up for grabs. Who wants to help me get it?
Thank you, Mani. Thank you very much. Okay, next up is Steve Jones. Steve, are you ready? Do we have Steve online?
I think Steve's still muted. And Steve, don't forget, we will start the timer as soon as we hear your voice start talking.
Yeah.
We'll give you another few seconds to come off mute, or we'll move on to whoever's next.
Hello.
Great, Steve, we can hear you. So if you're ready, we will start the timer now.
Can you give me 1 second? Sorry. Okay, I'm ready. Can we start now?
Yep, let's start you now. Please start. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Steve Jones. I started LifeBack to help the 30 million people in the US with alcohol use disorder, who no longer need to live with broken relationships, failed careers, and poor health, just like I did. LifeBack's a totally private solution that actually works and does not require abstinence. After a quick telemedicine visit, we deliver medication that stops alcohol cravings in 92% of people, allowing them to reach their own drinking goals with support from our coaches, community, and app. In only 1 year, we have 1,000 active subscribers at $150 a month, an annual rate of return of $1.8 million, and revenue growth of 360% since January, even during COVID. We're national at our current sign-up rates. We'll be adding 20,000 people per month with a lifetime value of $2,000. We are currently in 4 states and are raising $2 million to expand to 10 more states. We have $1.1 million committed so far and a lot of interest. Would you like to join the party?
Excellent. Good job. I like the closing with a question. That's fantastic. Good job.
I added that after just listening to you.
That's
it's too late to add everything else in 30 seconds, but yeah.
No, good job. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mark West. Mark, are you with us?
He is not. So we're moving on to Justin Sturgenberg for Locaris.
Thank you. So Justin, you're up next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I'm ready whenever you are. You tell me.
Okay, we will start now. Thank you.
In a world where millions of people turn to TripAdvisor to find their ideal hotel room for that one weekend away, or Yelp to ensure that the food of that one restaurant is as good as everyone claims it to be, or Glassdoor to be positive that the one potential job opportunity matches the company culture that they're yearning for, it seems almost comical that when it comes to signing a one-year apartment lease, there is no trusted go-to website that offers renters all of the same kind of in-depth reviews that they're looking for. Locaris offers renters the chance to talk to current renters, see what everyone in the building is currently paying, and read verified reviews. 86% of renters we surveyed said that if they had this information before signing their lease, it would have saved them from the worst rental experience of their life. At Locaris, we're building a community of renters who demand the ability to get the information they need to make a smart rental decision, and landlords who understand the value in providing this information. It's time for Locaris, a better living experience.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Okay, so up next we have Matt Brill. Matt, are you?
Hello.
Hi, Matt. Are you able to turn on your video, please?
I'm holding a baby in a dark room right now.
Oh my goodness.
Otherwise, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So, well, good job. We'll start you as soon as you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yep.
Okay, we'll start now.
All right. What do you want to eat? How do you feel when you hear that question? If you answered clueless, stressed, or even panicked, you're not alone. Hi, my name is Matthew Brill, founder of Grocery Advisor, a web and mobile application that guides your meals from thought to table in one app. Thought to Table answers the what, where, how, and when for food quickly and easily. Thought to Table means saving time and money. Thought to Table means getting you more with less. Grocery Advisor was born from the question, didn't I see this cheaper somewhere else? For many, cost is king. Having been there myself, my team and myself are empathetic to the 69% of Americans that have 1,000 or less in savings. As such, we want to keep Grocery Advisor free for consumers. Our services are monetized primarily by referral fees to grocers and delivery services. Grocery Advisor is currently in an open beta on Android with iOS and web releases pending. We're seeking $200,000 seed for a facelift to accelerate development and break Grocery Advisor into the $33 billion and growing online grocery market. Are you ready to join us in our 13-month adventure to profitability? Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Good job. That was impressive. You pulled that off. Fantastic. So up next, let's see, we have Phil Tabor. Phil, are you with us? I see you and you're on mute. If you're able to unmute, that would be great. We'll give you a second. Phil Tabor. Okay. I'm not sure that you have been able to unmute yourself.
Okay, Phil, I unmuted you. Get ready.
Phil, are you ready?
All right, I think we put Phil back on mute and we move on.
Yeah, okay, moving right along. Greg, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name.
Fruller.
Fruller, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, thanks.
Yeah, when you're ready, let's start. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Fruller, and I'm president of Freeform. Having had rental property and being a homeowner, I painted often. Every time I painted, my hands cramped and ached. I searched for a comfortable paintbrush, but nothing existed. As an industrial designer, I knew I had to solve the problem. The result, the patented grip-free paintbrush. Freeform has a strong team in place. We have a commitment for over 1,900 Walmart stores in 2021. We're an approved vendor with ACE, and this is just the beginning. The worldwide paintbrush market is $5.7 billion, and Freeform is poised to become the new industry standard. The grip-free paintbrush has a high perceived value, yet is surprisingly inexpensive to manufacture. Suggested retail price starts at just $7.99. We're seeking $600,000 for a 10% equity stake in Freeform. Together, let's change the painting experience from pain to satisfaction and accomplishment.
Excellent, good job. That was a great pitch. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks.
Okay, moving right along. Phil, it looks like you're back with us. So Phil, would you like to jump in? Are you ready to start? Oh, you're on mute. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Judy, he's unmuted. Well, now he's muted again.
Now he's muted. Okay.
Speak, Phil.
Oh,
We are not hearing you.
we can't hear you. So we'll come back to you, Phil. Don't worry about it. We'll come back. Selena, are you ready? And so Selena, you're on mute. If you could unmute yourself, that'd be great. Awesome. Hi, Selena.
Hello,
Are you ready to pitch?
I am ready to pitch. Nervous, but ready.
Let's do it. Okay, we'll start you now. Thank you. You can-
Hello. You start?
Yes.
Hello, I am Selena Porter. Did you know that 35% of adults have problems sleeping, according to the CDC? I design solutions to help you sleep as well as beauty. And they also incorporate beauty and wellness features. I chose one industry to look at, which is the sleep mask industry, which is a $2.3 billion industry worldwide, and it's accelerating at a 6% rate annually. I design beautiful products that encourages us to get enough sleep. We are more stressed in this time. I have 2 patents and 2 patents pending, and I'm seeking funding for my business at factoring. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Selena.
Okay, thanks.
Very much. No, that was great. You did a good job. And again, we'll provide feedback afterwards. So don't worry. This, all the key elements were there. Next up, we have DP. Are you ready to pitch?
I think I'm ready. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. We can hear you. We can see you. So we will.
That's really good. And I wanted to call out Maggie for helping me with my previous pitch because it was a disaster. I was all the way at the bottom of the ratings. So I'm hoping to do a little better tonight.
Awesome. Well, we will restart the timer from scratch. We'll reset it real quick.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the beauty of it. There's always a second chance. So go for it. When you're ready, DP, we'll start the timer now.
Drunk driving is a tragic issue that has sadly increased during the pandemic. Last year, there were more than 430 wrong-way collisions on Las Vegas freeways. That's more than one a night. I'm DP, founder of Chorus I, that's developing an app that checks for impairment. It can be administered by aiming a smart device at a QR stand-up card. No additional hardware is required. If the subject is impaired, the app connects to Uber Lyft account for a ride home. The app also works for doctors and dentist office after treatment. Chorus I makes revenue by referrals to Uber Lyft and reduction of business liability claims. Our platform technology has many use cases, is patent pending, and detects impairment also from alcohol and marijuana, as well as health issues. We're seeking to raise $2 million in seed. The investment brings a series of use case and apps to market. We project a 10x ROI in 5 to 7 years. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, DP. Thank you very much. Next up is Benji. Benji, are you ready?
Yeah, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll begin.
So we're going to start the timer now. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Benji from Tsuji. Parents across the globe, like me, are struggling with a new educational paradigm of remote learning and our kids' free time dominated by their obsession and deep immersion into games with little to no educational value. We want our children to play and learn, of course, and it is clear that there's a lack of constructive, engaging educational game experiences that our kids can really sink into. So we at Tsuji have decided to build what's missing. We are a 3-year-old, 10-person bootstrapped game company, and in 2 months launching Tracks, our subscription-based educational platform that leverages both our innovative real-time video chat and live streaming game technology. We have created a genre-defining augmented reality live streaming educational classes plus game world to educate and entertain kids and relieve parents of that nagging feeling that the mobile phone is just brain draining. Think that Nintendo game Animal Crossing plus Masterclass Live plus Sesame Street for a $320 billion online educational market. We're currently looking to raise $600K in funding and find solid partnerships. If interested, let's connect.
Thank you, Benji. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. Next up, David. David Lifschultz.
Yes, is it my turn?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you, so that's wonderful. Okay. And we are going to start the timer now. You're up. Thank you.
Okay, hello, I am David Lifschultz and I am fundraising for a software application I patented. Have you ever met someone at a convention or on Zoom and tried to find them on LinkedIn afterwards? Or are you looking through boxes of business cards to find a card you filed away? Well, unlike the app that comes pre-installed on your phone, my app is an end-to-end contact management solution that keeps all your contacts synchronized, accessible on any device and backed up to the cloud. because I know everyone has had this problem at some time. I am fundraising to launch this app free to the public. Additional B2C functionality will be available by subscription. Our party also lets you share your internet presence privately. So in the future, let your associates know when you join one of the other apps you've heard about here at StartUpNV. I'm currently looking for investors interested in establishing a management company and talented software developers to make a team. Thank you for your time. I am David Lifschultz, and vote to hear my 3-minute pitch.
Great. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Angie. Angie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we will start the timer now.
Imagine a world where every person, young and old, wakes up each day with a sense of purpose, ready to use their gifts and talents, ready to go to work. Now imagine that the scenario is easy to achieve if we focus on one student at a time, one teacher at a time, one school counselor at a time. Unfortunately, America's 49.5 million kids and teenagers are not receiving the academic training, future planning, and social and emotional support they need. Tutoring and college prep companies churn out mass services. Champion Educational Services uses disruptive hiring strategies, gamified learning, and champions mobile apps to combine the best of new innovation with the best of your old school favorite teacher. Tutoring is a $1.3 billion industry, and Champion's tiered services and pricing options make Champion accessible to all. For every problem in our world, there is a creative, curious child or teenager who has the potential to find the solution. We are looking for investors who will partner with us to solve humanity.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next up, we have Dominique. Are you ready?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and see you. Thank you. So we will start the timer now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominique Toyazaki, and I'm here to represent Bevy. During this pandemic, 2 things that almost everyone has tried to do are gain a new hobby or skill and stay connected with others. I know that all of our members have tried, but after about a month, you probably stopped baking bread and learning Spanish. After over 50 customer interviews, we found that a lack of motivation and community were the main answers to why people stopped. And people even experience these issues without a pandemic. Our solution, Bevy. Bevy is a productive social media app that pairs you into small study groups with people who have similar schedules and interests to help you accomplish your goals and passions. This small group concept is what makes us unique, and studies have shown that 70% of people will achieve more when they're in a study group. The first users we would try to reach are young adults, which is perfect because I am a young adult. So I have pre-existing networks and easy access to our initial market. We currently have a high fidelity wireframe and are asking for $125,000 for app development, marketing, and cloud storage. Thank you for your time and go in your groups with Bevy today.
Great. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Luis Torres. Luis, are you on board? Let's see, I'm not seeing.
No, we have Rui from Tanpool app.
Got it. Rui, you're up next, if you can unmute. Let's see, Rui Tan, are you ready? Okay, we'll jump to the next one. Let's see if Sean Bronya is ready. Sean?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Are you able to turn on your video, Sean?
Yeah, think you can see me now?
Yes, we can. Awesome. Great.
Okay, just trying to get back. Shoot. I lost my window. There it goes. Okay, you ready? Thank you. Hello.
We can see you and hear you. So we'll start the timer now. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Sean of HighFlare, Software as a Service. Let me take you on a journey that started 20 years ago. Yang and I pioneered video on demand years before Hulu and Netflix. What we found through the ages is that you don't need to pay a fortune for a professional looking website. We also learned that privacy is very important to our users. Nearly 2.5 images are stolen every day online. Our solution, we give you total control of your content and user management. We are part of a $20 billion a year market whereby 61% of the businesses use software as a service for 80% of their web-based application needs. 90% of the businesses use social networks for marketing purposes. We currently have several hundred networks who come to us through marketing influence and networking. Of those networks, there are about 250,000 people using our platform with a 300% growth rate just in the last year. Our business model provides for a four-tier subscription plan with best-in-class bandwidth. Unlike Ning, we provide 15,000.
Oh, Sean, you muted yourself? Oh, no, sorry, you're done. I forgot. We automatically mute once you've hit the 1 minute mark. You had a lot of data to share. That was a lot. We have to figure out a way to summarize all that good data. Thank you. It's tough. It's a hard exercise, no doubt. So let's see, Rui, are you back with us? And can we try to capture you here? Okay, still no news from Rui Tan. Okay, let's go to
he's
Gary,
not ready
Gary
then.
Hines.
No, let's go to Startup Genie. That's Luis Torres.
Startup Genie, can you?
Hey guys, I'm here. Could you hear me?
Yes, perfect. We can
Oh, that's
see
awesome.
and hear you. So, Gary?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, we'll start. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. We'll start the timer now. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Ray from Tampo Inc. Do you guys know, like in United States, there are 2.3 billion intercity trips made every year. And the fact is in US, the intercity trip is such a headache. Many people, they need a ride from one city to another city. And there are so many empty seats in the cars. So in order to solve this pain point, we built the app Tampo. It's the Airbnb for car seats in mid-long distance trip. And this app connects riders or parcel senders with the drivers who have a plan headed in the same direction, but mostly is for mid-long distance intercity trip. And we charge like 10% from rider and 15% from driver side to gain the profit. And we're seeking 1 million fund for.
Okay, so Rui, sorry, we had to cut you off because we have to cut off after the 1 minute time is up. But thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Good analogy. That was helpful. Let's go back to, I think it was Gary or Luis Torres. Sorry. Let's go back to Luis.
Okay, I'm still here.
Perfect. Thank you, Luis.
Sure. Thank you.
And then we'll go back to Phil. Phil, we can see you. We'll try, we'll see if your microphone is working. But let's go with Luis first, and we'll start the timer now.
Thank you, Startup Nevada, and everyone in attendance. Have you ever had your car break down on the side of the road in 110 Fahrenheit degree? I bet you have. My name is Luis Torres. I'm presenting a pre-revenue proof of concept mobile application I named Green Tow Truck, currently available in Google Play Store. After 12 years of industry experience, I developed the app so when your vehicle breaks down, you're able to connect to the closest service provider and also acquire a direct quote from the service company. At this time, we have about 4 dozen service providers across the United States. We're seeking seed funding to redesign and recode our platform for scalability. Visit us at greentowtruck.com to learn more. Thank you so much.
Good job. Okay, thank you, Luis.
Thank you.
Next up, we will try Phil. Back to Phil to see if your mic is working.
Testing 1, 2. You good?
Oh, yes, perfect. We can hear you. So this is great. Let's do it. So Phil, we will start the timer now.
Hi, I'm Phil Tabor with Tabor Innovations Group. And did you know that annually, over 150 firefighters lose their lives every year fighting fire in the line of duty? Of that 150 deaths, 15% are lost due to being lost or disoriented inside the structure. Another 55% die from some type of cardiovascular event. Tabor Innovations Group, over the last 4 years, has developed and patented OWL, which stands for Overwatch Locator. This device provides three-dimensional locating capability, as well as biometric parameters of the firefighter out to the incident commander by the fire truck. We are asking for $500,000 to get to market, and we currently hold 2 patents in this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Good job. Thank you. Next up, let's see. Who do we have ready to go?
Gary, let's go with Gary Hines, and then we'll do Beza.
Perfect. Gary, can you unmute and turn on your video, please? Gary Hines? Okay, we'll jump to Beza and come back to Gary. Beza, are you able to hear us? Can you unmute and turn on your video?
Yes, can you guys see me?
Yes. Yes, perfect. Wonderful. Yes. So we will start the timer now.
Hi guys, my name is Beza. I'm with Qubit. Qubit is a live entertainment app that allows artists to monetize from their live shows, whether it's digital or in person. The way that happens is a fan walks into a bar, wants to request a song, bids on the song, and is able to, if they win, get their song request honored. What makes Qubit really different from other song request apps is it has low barrier to entry. Qubit allows artists to monetize, earning about 70% of their bids and 100% of their tips after transaction fees. So what does that add up to? In 2019, about 49 million people visited Las Vegas. If 20% of them went to live events and 10% of them only spent about $10, the revenue for that is about $49 million. So Qubit is an app that allows artists and fans to interact at a live event, whether it's digital or in person, and request shout outs, songs, and monetize in real time.
Awesome. Thank you, Beza. Great. So next up we have, so I see the person, I believe this must be Gary. Yes, Gary.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Are you ready to go?
I'm more ready with the pitch than I am with the computer, so let's give this a try.
Then let's do it. We will start the timer now. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Gary Hines. My product is the cryothermal desalinator using liquid natural gas as a fuel instead of natural gas so that I get maximum condensation and that I can reduce brine to a very thick paste and reuse the ice from that to make actually more potable water. The competition is reverse osmosis, but because I only have to cool water down to 28 degrees instead of heating it up to 212, I'm at a great advantage here. And the money making is cheaper water, less outage times, brine mining, and it's a good thing, and we need water.
Thank you, Gary. We had to cut you off there at the minute mark, but thank you very much. Next up, we have, let's see, I see Larry, so maybe we'll jump to Larry Turner. Larry, are you able to unmute?
Hello, you hear me?
Perfect. Are you ready for the pitch?
I am ready.
Okay, let's do it. And we'll start the timer now.
Or Smartwatch, Navigating the Unknown by Larry Turner, CEO of Power Level Technology. There once was a little town named Vegas that was being threatened by a fire-breathing dragon by the name of Corona. The township, AKA the hospitality industry, had many concerns about what the dragon's destruction would do to their town, such as the spread of Corona, future preparedness, guest retention, and guest communication. Just then, a band of heroes named Power Level Technology arrived with a mighty shield called Aura. They wished to beta test their shield here in the Vegas $5 billion market to prove its effectiveness with continuous temperature monitoring, real-time communication, force multiplier, business model of B2B and B2C. The industry registering a compound annual growth rate of a 19.6% by 2027. Our heroes reached a genie in a lamp that stated, "You have 3 wishes. We are raising a $1.1 million pre-seed round and seeking a lead investor for a syndicate, mentors, and industry connections. I am Larry Turner of Power Level Technology. Thank you. Your wish is granted.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. That was awesome. So next up is David. David, can you unmute, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, awesome.
All right.
So
Hi,
David, go ahead.
Hi, I'm David Sinwesa, game developer and founder at Polygon Pros. We're making Wyvern Wings, a multiplayer battle royale video game where brave knights ride majestic dragons into action-packed aerial battles. In Wyvern Wings, you compete against and alongside other players in an exciting, colorful, family-friendly fantasy world. Fly, glide, dive, run, slide, and outmaneuver your opponents to dismount them, achieving your place among the legendary dragon riders. Collect thousands of dragons, lances, shields, and armor to customize your appearance. Breed your dragons with those of other players to create new and unique varieties to ride. Wyvern Wings will be available to play on PC, mobile, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. It will be free to play to allow our player base community to grow massively with premium upgrades generating revenue from our most passionate players. We're looking for $500,000 of working capital to publish this flagship title in the $165 billion a year global games industry. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn if you'd like to know more.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Next up is AJ. AJ, are you, can you hear us? And if you can, awesome. So we can hear you and see you. That's great. Are you ready?
No. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay.
No, yeah, that's definitely the right attitude. Good job. So we will start the timer now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adero Tuere, CEO of Third Eye Productions. My partner, Nemoine Berry, is the CTO. We co-founded Third Eye Productions back in October of 2018. We're an audiovisual company that specializes in LED digital display walls. Our initial niche was trade shows, and we were successful, growing from 0 to over 400K in 2019. But with COVID, we were displaced from our warehouse and had to shift to a new arena. Coming from the trade show world, where we built LED walls all the time, the first question we were always asked is, can we play video games on this? Well, we finally heard the people's request and designed an environment where people can come in and play video games, but not on PCs like in other gaming cafes. And they can play with their gaming consoles, not just ours. We have filed a patent for our idea and are looking for assistance in finding a venue to help us grab a piece of this $1.1 billion industry. Are you ready to join us?
Good job. I like the question. That was great. You did great. Good job. Next up is Darshell.
Shit.
She's not here.
So sorry.
Oh, no worries. It's the beauty of Zoom. Next up, we have Lindsay.
Lindsay is Abacus Verte.
Okay.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, could start the clock. Hi, I'm Lindsay, and my co-founder Marta and I founded Safe Harbor in 2018 to better protect and digitally track regulated legal cannabis. In our decade-plus experience in the cannabis industry, we noticed that licensed operators are routinely risking safety, liability, and now in COVID, consumer and employee health, all to be able to get essential medicine into the hands of patients. Our patent-pending IoT lockers automate pre-order product pickup. It's like an Amazon locker that you'd see outside of Whole Foods, but it's adapted for cannabis-specific requirements. We sell B2B to dispensaries with upfront hardware sales and recurring revenue. Clients increase their margins through reduced employee cost and boosted sales volumes, so the lockers pay for themselves in about 3 months. We own all our software IP, and our hardware suite has outside sector application for ammunition, jewelry, or cash, other regulated goods. Cannabis is an $8 billion opportunity right now in the US, and we can capture 1.6 million in revenue in year 1 alone. There are a couple of vending companies out there trying to do what we do, but we're the only ones addressing pre-order in compliance with regs. We're seeking $300,000 to get to launch in 5 target states.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Lindsay. Okay, next up is it
Mine? Mine is
yes,
next.
it's
Mine.
me.
Great.
But this is more exciting than being in front of the investor, trust me.
Awesome. Well, we can see you and we can hear you. So are you ready to pitch?
I think so.
Okay, let's do it. So we will start the timer now.
Hi, I'm Mine Kost. I'm the founder of the photo application Hollywood Rising Star. I don't know if you ever visited Hollywood or Hollywood Walk of Fame. Hollywood Walk of Fame is a popular tourist destination visited every year over 10 million people. When I came to the United States, my first job was selling Stars Homester on the sidewalk of Hollywood Walk of Fame. During my job experience, I noticed people's passion having photos next to the stars on the sidewalk. They were literally lay down on the sidewalk in order to have a photo. That gave me an idea to create a platform, and I created my photo application and launched in 2015, be able to generate 3,500 users. Now, I need your help to reach more people around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mine. Thank you very much. So next up, we have Zach. Is Zach Gambino on the call? I see you're there. Please unmute and turn on your video if you can hear us.
Hi.
Oh, we can hear you, but I can't see you.
All right, you want to fix something here? Too many windows. Okay.
That's okay. We'll give you a few seconds. Don't worry.
There we go.
Okay, there you are.
There you go.
We can see you. We can hear you. The sound's a touch muffled, I have to say. If you can improve on the sound a little bit, that would be great.
How's that? Any better?
That is better. Okay, so Zach, we'll start the timer now.
Hey, everybody. You know what a retractable barrier is? You see them everywhere in fast food, airports, concert venues, and small businesses. We see them as untapped potential. Hi, I'm Zach Gambino, and my partner Ben Kay couldn't join me in person today. Ben has been in the sign industry, meeting the needs of businesses for over 25 years. And I've been a software engineer for the last 15 years and a horrible hardware engineer for the last 2 years. While working with businesses across many different industries, Ben imagined a first of its kind product, the frontline display you see behind me. With our most visionary friends, we set off on a journey to develop this innovative new product. Frontline Displays is poised to innovate in the extraordinarily large and vast retractable barrier market, which has seen extraordinarily little innovation. Now that we have our patent pending, proof of concept prototypes built, and even a little field testing with local businesses, we are in the early stages of our startup looking for pre-seed or seed funding and mentorship through lead investors to help us build our team.
Oh, Zach, we had to cut you off because you went past the 1 minute mark, but very compelling product. It's great to see it on the screen there. Thank you. Next up is Lori. Lori, yes, perfect. It looks like you're unmuted. Can you hear us?
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Good, thank you. So if you're ready to pitch, we'll start the timer.
I'm as ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay, let's do it. And we'll start.
My name is Lori Stevenson. Did you love Downton Abbey as much as I did? Well, here in Vegas, we don't have tea houses. There's the 4 big hotels do restaurant teas. There's no place like it. A little bit of tea will be a home setting served by early 20th century butlers and maids with wonderful teas and wonderful, amazing desserts. And come have a tea party with me.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Allie. Allie, are you ready? Can you unmute, please?
Yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So when you're ready, we'll start the timer now.
Cool. Hi, I'm Allie. I'm the founder of Good Elephant, and I'm one of the 250,000 yoga teachers in America today. During COVID, thousands of yoga studios have closed, leaving teachers displaced without any idea how to make a living. But don't worry, there is hope. 55 million people are projected to practice yoga this year, and they're isolated too. And they're just looking for the right class at the right time. That's a huge demand. That's over 200 attendees per teacher. And that's where Good Elephant comes in. Our platform generates classes based on the needs of the community. And it's not just yoga. Our marketplace is fundamentally changing the way people connect. We've already connected over 100 teachers with unused spaces to offer classes for thousands of people. And we're looking for the right investors to join us in continuing to scale our platform and make a healthy lifestyle more inclusive and affordable for everyone.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you, thank you. Next up is Jeff. Jeff, are you ready? Yeah? We'll wait for you to unmute.
Thank you very much. Okay, can you hear me all right?
Perfect. So we will start the timer now.
Good. Hi, I'm Jeff Leap, founder of PPL. PPL is software to help you manage personnel in the gig economy. Did you know that things have changed radically in the world of employers? Now more than ever, traditional employment is being left behind by hiring independent contractors. I'm a musician, and years ago I started an entertainment company, and I needed a solution to managing the personnel and the overwhelming details involved. So I created PPL software to solve those issues, and I spun it off as a separate business 10 years ago. We have a US trademark and copyright. We have been successful so far, but now we're ready to move ahead. Currently, we're seeking investors to join us with the starting seed of $500,000 to immediately update and improve PPL. Then we plan to identify other larger markets and expand PPL from an entertainment market of $50 million into huge worldwide markets like construction trades. Eventually, we'll be looking for a total investment of $10 million that will push us into billion-dollar markets. An investor should be able to.
Oh, sorry, Jeff, we had to cut you off. But no, it's a good start. It's a really good start. So let's see. I think we have gone through our list of pitching participants. I'm going to wait to hear from our organizers and our coordinators to see. I'm going to get more light on too at some point. I didn't realize I was in the dark here.
Yes, we have gone through our list.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
But we do
So
have
Judy,
a lot
if
of
you wanna, I'll stop sharing, and Judy, if you can start the deconstruction process, like the big picture items, I will get the judging piece ready to go.
Okay.
Well, let's ask one more time if there's anybody else who wants to pitch. Okay, nobody's writing in the chat. All right, Misty or Judy, go ahead and take it away with constructive criticism.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to add a bit more lighting there. I'm still a bit in the dark. That's okay. Well, everyone did a great job. I mean, it's nerve-wracking. It's a hard process. A minute feels like such a short amount of time. So the first thing, and actually, Jeff, and we're not, this is constructive feedback. We're trying to learn from everyone. I'll start with Jeff. You're the last one to go, so we'll start with you first. So talking faster is not the solution to your pitch. Trying to talk as fast as possible to include as much information as possible is not quite is. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. You have so much you want to share, but here the idea is let's really cherry pick the like I said, the 4 or 5 nuggets of critical information that you want to get across. Jeff, I understand that you've developed software to help manage personnel that's, gig type workers or people who are mobile, who you need to be in touch and in contact with. But I have no idea exactly what the problem is. I have no idea exactly what the service, what type of service the software provides. Like what pain is it relieving? I don't know. I have no idea. So you did talk about, how much you were asking, which was great. I do, you come across as someone that as an expert, you've been in the industry, you've had the pain, you're trying to solve a pain that you've experienced and you've had, but I just don't know what that is. So that's one example of sometimes we're so immersed in our problem, we assume that our audience understands what we're talking about when they don't. So let's break it down and let's give a specific example of a specific problem you had in managing your personnel and how the software addressed that feature. As I mentioned at the start, you want to pick the one key feature and just zone in on that, the one that solves the biggest pain, and all the rest. Don't focus on the benefits. We don't want to talk about all the nitty gritty and the weeds of it. I'm going back to my notes here just to see who else. Let's see. David, you asked great questions. The one thing that was missing there is traction. I can understand how far along you were in your process of developing your product or service. So remember to always share towards the end one of the key milestones that you've accomplished. The opposite example of that was with, let's see, there was one person, I think it was Mani towards the start. You actually outlined a lot of traction. It was awesome. Like so many patents in so many different countries. It's super impressive. But you spent so much time on that I actually have no idea what it is that the product or service does. So sometimes we, don't forget to explain briefly the problem that you're solving and how your product and service addresses that. Let's see, what else? Really enjoyed some of the analogies that were used. They were so spot on. Justin, you talked about TripAdvisor, Yelp, Glassdoor. Those were super helpful. It was a nice way to help understand how that connects with what renters might be looking for. Let's see, and the fact that you chose different industries to highlight that, and then added on this additional new vertical that you guys are working on is great, because we can see there's a pattern there. There's a pattern of user behavior where it's not a hard push to take it to that next vertical. Jeff, feel free to jump in at any point. I'm just going over notes that I took really quickly after everyone's pitch. And I'm hoping that the comments I'm providing, so every single one had definitely its pros and cons. I'm trying to highlight the, different aspects of each one so we can all learn. Misty too, if you have any comments, please do feel free to jump in.
So I'll jump in. I thought that there were probably, out of the, I don't even know how many we had, about 35 pitches or so, 40 pitches. I'm going to say at fully a third of them, I want to know more about. Fully a third of you guys. Some of you were very articulate, and you'll probably make it through to the next round because there was just enough information that set you aside from maybe the other dozen that didn't give quite enough information. But man, I mean, the life back thing is very, made me very interested in wanting to hear more. Locaris made me wanted to hear more. The freeform brush, DP with Horus Eye, the idea that you can detect impairments.
Actually, I wanted to highlight Greg's pitch. That was so nicely done. Good job, Greg. I mean, that was an example of a pitch that I thought was very tight. You explained your expertise and background. So for me, that's check that box. I know you solved a very specific problem from a very specific pain that came from your personal experience. That was compelling. You've got some phenomenal traction with Walmart Ace. That's incredibly compelling. So good job highlighting that traction. Huge market, $5.7 billion market. Fantastic. And your raise was not a big ask, 600K. That was an example of a pitch that was very tight, simple, to the point, and you definitely hit all the points that we would want to hear. So good job for highlighting that.
Yeah, and I thought DP, I thought your pitch was much improved over some of the ones we've heard in the past. So good job for taking input and making it better. The idea that you can detect impairment with a phone or a simple device is high on my list of priorities. As some of you may know, I lost my co-founder to a drunk driver driving the wrong way on I-580 here in Reno. So anybody that's working on that problem, it's very near and dear to my heart. So some other, I mean, there were lots of other great things. The grocery advisor thing I thought was interesting. I'm not sure I heard enough information about it though. AJ, your presentation was awesome. Your presence was great. So good job. And well, I'm going to miss some good ones out there. Oh, and the IoT lockers for cannabis, really interesting, both timely for now and some other interesting things that you can do with that.
One thing
so-
I'd like to highlight, Jeff, something we mentioned when we did our last session, and something that is very dear to Misty's heart, I know. We do love to see demos. We love to see the product or the service, and sometimes just being able to show and illustrate it, it's worth 1,000 words. So right there and then, we saw with our presenter towards the end, the tape, separation tape with in the background that was showing up on your screen. That was fantastic. Right there and then, we understand exactly what you're talking about. The frontline display. Thank you. That was great. It was so great to see the product. Not only did we see it, but obviously it works. You guys pulled it off. You have some kind of MVP up there. That was fantastic. And so maybe Angie, no, it wasn't Angie. I'm sorry, Selena. Selena, you are addressing a huge problem. Yes, 35% of the adults in the US have a problem sleeping. And you talked about a sleep mask, and it sounds like there's something super innovative about the sleep mask, because you have patents pending, or you maybe actually already have patents. But in my mind, I'm just imagining just a traditional sleep mask. Like, what is different about your sleep mask? You have a patent. It must be, I want to know more. I want to see it. So you were definitely an example of someone who pitched, who would definitely gain from being able to show the product, even if it's just an MVP and not the final product. We understand, investors understand, that there's an iteration process when you're building product, especially hardware. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly how it would look like once it's in the market, but showing us, giving us an idea on what is this value in this sleep mask. Maybe a visual there would have been helpful. Let's see.
A couple of things to share. So happy to jump in here if now is a good time. I would say the majority, 80% of you tonight, spent way too much time on product. I was watching the clock like 40 seconds, 50 seconds on, like sales pitch type stuff. And I didn't get to hear, how does it work? How do you make money? How big is the problem? How stiff is the competition? All of those things that investors are looking to know. There were a couple of things that stood out. So I'm going to say, AJ, when you started, Judy said, "Are you ready?" And you said, "Nope, I'm going to do it anyway." Like, that was great. It set you apart a little bit. Like, I can associate, because I get nervous when I speak too. Like it gives us another place where we can connect with you on a personal level. So that was great. There were a couple of others like that. Beza, at the end of yours, you did this great summary. I'd almost like to see you do it again, just so that we could all hear it. Because it was just this, like, you told us what you're going to say, and then you said it, and then you summarized it in this really clean, tight way that was just really elegant and smart. So, and you got my vote because of it, right? I actually went back and looking, like on the judging question, I went back and looked at yours and looked for it for that particular reason. Larry Turner, your story, it's sort of unfortunate that you were followed by the guy who built the video game thing that had dragons. It almost detracted from your dragon-y story. I didn't actually figure out what you were doing, but I was like, oh, this guy just because he's entertaining, right? Like,
I totally wanted to highlight Larry. Yes, I mean, the way you pitched through that storytelling was phenomenal. I mean, that was absolutely a standout. But to your point, Misty, I have no idea what you're doing, what the product is, or just I don't know. I do want to know more, but it would have been great to get a bit more info in the pitch. Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, if you haven't voted, time's almost up. Go and click the link and vote. So
let's see.
There were two people on the two people that pitched where your company that you talked about didn't match the way you had named yourself in Zoom, and it was confusing to me. Right. So just if you can think about your alignment. So you're pitching a product versus your company, just like figuring out how to make that clean and clear. And I was going to say too, Zach, the demo was great. Like any way you can work the demo in, and stuck in a virtual environment, use it to your advantage, right? You can have things behind you. You can make a fake, a background that has a big logo, or, like some other indicator of your product or size of your problem or market opportunity, any of those kinds of things. There were a couple people who said things that were way too scientific, right? So as an investor who's sort of a liberal investor, somebody who looks at a lot of different deals, who's not super focused in one particular industry or a real narrow path, if you tell me, sorry, Gary, I'm gonna use you as the example. If you have a cryothermal desalinator that reduces brine to a paste through a reverse osmosis process, like I have no idea. Like I actually know what all of those words mean. I don't know what you're doing. And it's not helpful for me as an investor. As a matter of fact, it becomes off-putting really fast, because I think if I have a problem with this guy, am I going to be able to talk to him? I'm putting my money in. I'm planning to spend the next 5, 7, maybe even 10 years. Are you going to keep talking over my head the whole time? Or can you get it down to a level where I can understand that you're doing something that makes water quality better? There's something there, I'm sure of it. But giving it to me in a way that I can understand it, and then we can have a conversation. So this is the move the science from the features to the benefits. This also happens with any kind of technology, any kind of software, any medical device. Even if you're doing a food product, people can get too lost in the feature part. Investors want to understand the benefit part. So that's all of my feedback for this round.
And I'll jump back in just really quickly, because most of my comments before were all on the positive side, because I really liked a lot of I liked almost all of the ideas were awesome, and I think they have a good chance of going somewhere. But there was a lot of talking about very fine details of what the offering were, which I know as a founder you get super excited about, but investors really want to know about your business. So you have to give just enough information to tease them about the problem you're solving and what it is that you do, but then move on to the business stuff. What's your business model? How big is the market that you're serving? Do you have any traction? If you don't have traction with what you're doing now, do you have experience in this area of working where you know that you're going to get traction? One of the things that we at StartUpNV look for, and our FundNV looks for, is, are you as a founder like right there either selling or ready to sell, or have you started selling? Because as an investor, that's what you want. You want your investment money to go in almost immediately into growing the business, growing the market. So that if you are in that situation, you want to highlight it much more than the product that you have. You guys didn't really have a lot of time to go into your team. I mean, it'd be awesome to know about it, but it's really hard to do that in a 1-minute pitch. So it's that sort of investment opportunity, coupled with the market opportunity and how much traction and how much sales, or are you close to selling? Those are the things that I thought, even some of the most interesting ones that I heard that I still want to hear more about were missing a little bit. So
yeah, that point, Jeff, I know Benji was asking for some feedback, and so Benji, you've created some software that is where as an investor, I would expect to see some real expertise behind that in education. So for me to believe that you've solved the problem of being able to educate my child by providing, AR with live streaming, with games, and so on and so forth, to be able to trust that, that's an example where I do need to know a little bit more about the background, your background, the background of the team. So maybe you're the CTO, you're the tech guy who's developing the software, but is there anyone else on the team who has any background in education, right? So that would be a key element for that one. And Benji, just in general, I mean, you use lots of good analogies, but maybe a little bit more specificity would have been helpful. And how does it work exactly? Have you validated any of this? Do you have any scientific research or anything? I mean, anything to just back up what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And for sure, there's a problem. You're addressing a problem. I have a 15-year-old who spends 4 hours a day on TikTok, so we get it. I think most parents get it. Most parents actually on this one, we all get the problem. But it's like we have to be able to trust the solution. Yeah.
And I'll say Beza from Qubit, as a big music fan, a person who, when we can go to concerts, likes to go to them, and likes to engage with the band and buy their songs, their music, and things like that. I think, the elephant in the room right now is, we're in COVID and what's going to happen with that. And I think so that's something that at this time you have to address. You're such a compelling presenter. You had such good presence. I think confidently sort of having an answer for that really obvious question, between now and whenever we start to come out of this, would have been helpful. But I like what you're working on, and you, like I said, you had this awesome presence that was really fun to watch. So keep going.
I had one other thing for, it was AJ, just another great example, again, from AJ. You said something about like $400,000 in revenue last year, and then COVID hit, and now you're listening to your customers and you built something new for them, and like, and you're back on the game. Like that notion that, one, you've had customers and you're listening to the customers and you built the pivot that they asked for. Like, oh my gosh, that's like 5 thumbs up. Like, I need extra thumbs.
Yeah.
That's really good stuff. So that really jumped out to me as well.
Right.
We have results to share. Jeff, I think you're making the final decision about who's actually going to pitch in the next round, but there's something curious that happens. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the results. Investors and judges tend to pick differently than participants do. So I want you to see what happens when we do that. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to take a look at the difference. So first, I'm showing you right now what you see on the screen is the participants. So everybody who participated tonight, everybody got a chance to vote. And we put the same list in for both judges and for participants tonight. So from among the participants, you have a good showing from Qubit and Locaris. And then Freefoam Brush and Safe Harbor. Those were the kind of the top candidates. And this happens every time. And I think it's so interesting that it happens. The judges picked LifeBack as its top. So if I go back and I look, 4 of you out of 29 picked LifeBack as a company you'd want to hear more from. All of the judges tonight picked LifeBack. So, and almost everybody picked Freeform Brush. Only one of us didn't pick Freeform Brush. So that's a sort of an interesting thing that happens. Investors we're listening for something that's a little different than entrepreneurs in the trenches. And so anybody have Jeff's going to make the final decision. We want to do a combination of the judges pick and the participant pick. Make that final decision.
So let's see, how much time do we have? We're at 7 o'clock now. So I think normally we pick 3, but we actually have a little extra time tonight. So I'm going to say we pick 4 folks to go through to the round. And I'm sitting here trying to move your screen. I'm on the side of the thing trying to move it down to, because the three I think there's 3 really clear choices with Safe Harbor, LifeBack, and Freeform Brush.
Okay.
And now we need to pick a 4th one. Let's go roll back up to the judges. And let's see I'm just trying to go back and forth between the judges. All right, so let's go back down to the other one. Well, the winner from the participants was Qubit. So let's listen to the people. And the people want to hear more about Qubit. And I'm curious about it myself. So so I think, Maggie, do all 4 of those companies actually have 3-minute pitches?
Well, that's the next thing you need to know.
Well, actually, I only included companies that said they had 3-minute pitches with slides.
Okay, so for those of you who have been writing and telling me that they were not on the list, that's the reason why.
Yeah, the only way we could vote for you is if you said you had a 3-minute pitch. Otherwise, it was great to hear from you, but we
Good practice.
Slides ready for a 3-minute pitch. There was no sense voting for you if you weren't going to be ready to go. So those are the 4. One of the people's choice, and look, Harris, you were, I know it's not a lot of consolation, but you were just missed it. I really wanted to hear more about your business model. So don't give up, come back and pitch the next time. Hopefully you'll get through. And you can be sure that some of you guys are going to hear from us, because we're going to want to hear a longer pitch from you at StartUpNV outside of this AngelNV competition. So even if you're not getting through tonight, it's not all done.
Jeff, did you have an order that you wanted them to go in?
Well, let's start with Qubit first, and then from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, whatever that order is from the judges group, let's go that way.
From the okay.
So it's Safe Harbor, Freeform Brush, and Lifeback is batting cleanup. Sorry for using a sports analogy.
Okay, so Qubit, then Safe Harbor.
Qubit, Safe Harbor, Freeform, and Lifeback.
Okay.
All right. And so if we give them just a second to get ready, I always try and throw in like one piece of random advice on this. And if we don't have somebody who's sort of public speaking expert, I try and throw in that kind of advice. So we had a company pitch, I think last year, it might've been the year before, but, and the entrepreneur didn't know that he did this. I'm gonna adjust my camera just a little bit. And he would say, when he was talking about like the market opportunity or the things that were outside of the company, he would keep his hand sort of out, like he would hold his hand out. But when he said the name of the company,
we're not really seeing you on the big screen, Misty. If you can stop sharing, we'll actually see you on the whole screen.
Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Now we can see. Now we can see your hand movements.
Okay, so anyway, this was a medical device, and it was something for your eyes, putting medicine on your eyes. But when the guy would talk, when he was talking about like the market opportunity or anything that was like outside, he would put his hand out, you know, and like he had this great rhythm of gestures. But when he would say the company name, he always touched his heart. And he didn't realize he did it, but it had this really profound effect. And he did it with this kind of softness. So just know that like everything can be a prop. You can use your background as a prop. You can use your, like I've seen a ton of companies that, you know, they wear their t-shirt, somebody's got a paintbrush, right? Like, Greg, good job. But your body can also be a prop, right? So just think about how you use everything around you. And I'm sure we've got some other examples of like that. So that was just like one little quick piece of random advice, just more for you to think about as you go forward and keep putting your deals together. So with that, Qubit, are you ready? Oh, Judy, this is your show to run. Sorry, it's just.
Oh, no, this is great.
We're gonna let you share your slides, but this time I will be able to shut you off, and I'm running the timer separately. So you won't be able to see the time pass, but I will shut off your mic.
Well, let me ask this. Do you want Misty to break in and tell you have just say 30 seconds or 15 seconds, or do you guys all have your own timers set? All right, let me do it this way since you're all on mute. Raise your hand if you want Misty to shout out at you that you've got 30 seconds. Okay, I see Abbott, and I see Abacus going, yes, I want 30 to 30 second warning. I'm not seeing Beza. Greg's not raising his hand, so he's got to.
I'll take 30 seconds, but I can't see.
All right, so we got at least half the people out. So when you see it hit 30, up, and Beza is saying the same thing. So when you see it hit 30, Misty, just say 30. And
I'll do that too.
You guys don't get distracted by it. So it'll just be an extra bit of noise in the background. So I'm gonna go on mute and Judy can run it from here.
Okay, so I think we're starting with Cupid. Beza, are you ready? Okay, so you're pulling up your screen. Perfect. And are you unmuted at this point? So we can see your screen. That's working great.
But we're not hearing her.
Beza, do you want to put something in the chat to let us know what's going on with the sound? Or maybe we'll jump to. Oh,
can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. I will share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me know when to go.
And we will start the timer now.
Hi guys, again, I'm Beza with Qubit. Qubit is the future of live entertainment. So what is the problem we're actually solving? Engagement is important to fans, artists, venues, and record labels. Today, there's really no easy way that exists for fans to make requests during live shows, whether it's digital live shows or in-person live shows. Streaming revenues increased by 41%, but artists only saw a fraction of the payout. So as you can see, artist earnings per click from YouTube and Spotify are pretty low. So what is the solution? A mobile application that allows artists to monetize their digital and live events and engage with their fans in real time. Qubit allows artists to generate revenue from song requests, shoutouts, VIP passes, and more. So what is the actual opportunity? Dance and electronic clubs and festivals have lost over $3 billion due to COVID-19. And despite viewership and online activity increasing across social platforms, the earnings are not hitting artists' pockets. More than that, over 52% of Americans attended shows in 2018, and 50 tours alone generated over $2.21 billion the first half of 2018. That is up 12% from the previous year. 68% of those people attended a concert. 66% a free outdoor event. 51% a small live and show at a bar or cafe. To move it to digital, Facebook had over 3.5 billion total Facebook Live broadcasts and more than 150 billion reactions to live video in the last 2 years. Today, fans are cash apping artists everywhere. You've heard of Cash App, you've heard of Venmo. There really isn't an easy way to request songs or tip artists. So what is the total accessible market? TAM for the live entertainment industry is about 60 billion. As I'm explaining the opportunity on the left, there are over 500,000 DJs alone in the US. There are over 241 stadiums in the US, and they have over 11 million seats. If you're asking me why, during the last Super Bowl, J-Lo asked people to request songs through her Instagram and text message. That seems very clunky. There are over 62,000 bars, taverns, and nightclubs in the US. And I don't know if you've heard of Touch Tunes, but they made about 75 million in revenue from song requests in 2018. And that is a big equipment in an actual bar. What is Qubit's positioning? We have low barrier to entry because Qubit does not cost a fan or artist to download the app. We're first mover advantage. No streaming company actually is monetizing through a bid technology. We have asked for provisional patenting. We're scalable across multiple verticals. So whether you are a small musician, you're at a concert, you're a comedian that wants to do roasts or requests, you can use us. The monetization attracts target customers, which are our artists as well as fans. Okay. So potential competition, we've got obviously Live Nation, Ticketmaster, iHeartRadio, StubHub. So our product alone can go ahead and generate revenue model will take about 30% commission on each bid transaction a user wins. As you can see, for 10 million transactions, if an average winning purchase is $20, the revenue that Cupid would earn is 60 million, 200 million goes to artists. The second monetization is tips. Right now, there's really no way to tip an artist, whether you are at a small bar or a big venue. 10 million
Fine.
transactions at an average tip of 5. Sorry, guys, I tried.
That was great.
Oh, I thought I could talk fast. That's very good.
So
all
the
right.
temptation is to squeeze 4 or 5 minutes into 3. And that's like the goal really is to adjust your talking points. And if you think about what the overall fabric of the universe is right now, we all understand the problem, right? You know, like we've all had a conversation in our home or with our friends about, oh my gosh, how must it be for people who make their living, you know, doing concerts or like any kind of live entertainment. So the problem is actually at this point in history, beautifully understood. And you spent probably 2 minutes talking problem and you probably could be like, you know, like you could have shortened that maybe to a sentence, and then we could have gotten to the things like your team or the actual business model of how it works, which I'm really curious about, or what the investment opportunity is, or what your needs are right now.
Yes.
And I'll let basic. Yes. Can you stop stop sharing now? So
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Seeing you and I'll plus one to everything that that Misty said. While I do go quick, and I appreciate somebody talking fast because I can hear it faster and listen to it faster. That's not it's not a good look. I've been told that many times myself. So
okay.
So you know, pick the top ones. It's okay to assume that we will get the basic idea, and if we don't, you know, if this was a real active pitch for money, people will ask you questions. What did you mean by that? I thought you did a pretty good job of balancing you got to the business model and answered my questions about COVID that I didn't hear in your 1-minute pitch. So that was good. But I would like to have heard more about the tipping and some of the other things, you know, from a business model perspective and how big that is, that you ran out of time for because, like Misty said, you spent a lot of time talking about a problem I think we all got really quickly, and I would have appreciated hearing more about the business.
Okay.
Your responses to investors are actually great. We didn't talk about this tonight, but if investors are giving you feedback, especially in an environment like this, where you'll probably pitch an environment like this a few times at least, you can get more feedback from investors if you quietly say thank you and let them give you more, especially if you can say, I would love to talk more about that because, you know, like maybe we could meet for coffee, or I'm happy to do another meeting. And it's a nice way to invite that second meeting as well. But I just wanted to also call out, like, somebody else is going to do the other thing, which is argue. And that's like a terrible idea, especially within a group environment. A little bit different if it's one-on-one, but your responses are really perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Plus one on that one too, Misty. All right. Any other feedback, or are we moving on?
I don't want to miss saying the slides are sharp.
Yeah. Really good.
On the pro side,
Thank you.
super sharp, super well designed. The graphic design was is impeccable on those. Yeah. Good job.
I don't know if those slides are going to play as well if you were in a room, like on a big screen. The blue on the black is sometimes really tough, and the contrast is really hard. But with all of us operating in this environment, it works beautifully, and it sort of plays to the whole, like, almost has a nightclub feel, like has a more of an artistic, like there's a piece of that matches up with what you're, you know, that's one more way you can sell product while you're talking the business side too.
Right. But if you have a room full of old people like me who have a hard time with dark backgrounds and non-highly contrasting text, like Misty said, on this environment, it's easy to see. But if you get into a room, it's not going to be as easy. So just pay attention to your environment.
Thank you.
maybe have another version that's light background with dark text.
Yeah, we're big on branding, so I'm definitely gonna have now a new shade. Yeah.
No, I mean, for this environment, it was great, but for others, it might not be as awesome. All right. Any other feedback? Or Judy, should we move on?
I think we can move on. So who's next? Greg or
It's Safe Harbor.
Lindsay is next.
Lindsay? Okay.
I just unmuted myself. Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you.
Thank you.
Just got one. Sorry, it's just gonna take a second for system preferences. Later. Okay, it seems like I might maybe want to go ahead to someone else. It seems like I might have to log out and log back in.
Okay.
In that case, Greg is up next.
Okay, thanks for putting me on the spot there.
Sorry about that.
And we're all
I'll
founders. We need to be able to pivot.
There you go. There you go. Well,
Oh wait, actually, you guys, I got it. If you wanna take another few minutes, Greg.
Okay.
I got it now.
Well, I got my shameless plug in anyway.
Okay, all right, wonderful.
I got an extra 10
Apologies
seconds.
for that, guys.
Yeah.
I think we're ready now. It just took me a second. All right, can we see this now?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, all right, so you guys can see my whole screen. Okay, so hi, I'm Lindsay. I am COO of Safe Harbor. We are bringing progressive technology and automation to the cannabis industry. My co-founder Marta and I founded Safe Harbor in 2018 to address issues that we saw in the industry. We've got about a decade plus experience in cannabis with shared backgrounds in technical design. And while in the industry, we noticed that operators, whether in transport and distribution or in retail sales, we're continually facing risks of safety and liability in this new industry. And especially now with COVID coming along, there's issues around consumer and employee health because people don't want to stand in long lines. They don't want the congestion that comes with and the extended wait times for purchase, like in dispensaries along the East Coast where there's tends to be 40-minute lines even in the heart of winter. All of this is to be able to get essential product to consumers. So we also noticed that in transport, there's problems on the road with inefficient transfer and risks for drivers because they take liability for a very valuable product and then they have to be able to take it to customers and pass it off with little to no, with a lot of regulatory complaints and rules, but little to no oversight. And so what we did was to try to bring automation to this industry. With dispensaries, what that means is contactless automation. It's like an Amazon pickup locker meets Starbucks order ahead. For distributors and deliverers who are taking product to consumers at their homes or at wholesale distribution hubs, it's a lot like Brinks meets Postmates. So we're having asynchronous transfer through automated lockers that have IoT technology to be able to read digitally the product that comes in and out. The dispensary locker looks a lot like this. It boosts sales volume, it reduces transaction times. We're integrated with point of sale systems and e-commerce systems that the dispensary software platforms are already using. So we integrate very easily, we're configurable, plug and play. So basically what you get is this locker that either sits on the retail floor or in wall, because we're working with an architectural firm based out of Southern California that is actually building these into the structural facilities of dispensaries. So customers can come up and be able to read their ID, use their debit card for payment, and pick up their product with a digitally triggered lock that opens very easily and in under 2 minutes. A distribution locker, this is the one that we have in development for summer 2021. Essentially, we're negating the transporter wait times. Our business model is pretty simple. We've got 2 major products that are IoT technology connected hardware. We're going to pilot in 3 states in the beginning of 2021 with our dispensary locker, and we're building out distribution.
30 seconds.
Early 2022. Okay, I'll skip ahead. We're looking towards acquisition post-federal legalization. The US cannabis market is $31 billion. It's a huge opportunity. We see the ability to get between 7,000 to 8,000 dispensaries by end of year 4, which would put us in the 40 million revenue category. Competitive landscape, there's a bunch of vending machines out there, but they don't do what we do, and they're not compliant with state compliance checks. Customer ROI, you get a boosted sales volume, and this pays for itself within 3 months with increased.
Okay, and the danger is too much time on product and problem, right? So I kind of caught the drift of it, like quickly. I really want you to go, I want to know more about that competition slide. Go back to the competition slide. And the team and the ask, right? Like this is the dangerous thing. So one quick thing, if you get stopped like that, you can jump to your ask slide. That's the slide you really want people to see anyway, right? Like, so, you know, the mic shuts off, but you still have control of the clicker, right? You still got screen control. This is, you know, jump to that. So we at least have the ability to write down your phone number and see how much money you're asking for and, you know, make a guess about how you might use it. So this looks like a contact page and not an ask slide. Yeah, so.
And I think it's always good to have your contact information on your ask slide. So that you got it, twofer going there. So Misty, I'll jump back and let you finish.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So again, I think I agree with Misty that there was a lot of time spent on the solution. And I know, I mean, we've met before, so I know a little bit about what you and Marta have put together. And I like what I'm seeing with the actual in-dispensary stuff, because I think last time we chatted, it was, you know, the lockers in the vehicles and tracking everything with IoT and making sure that all the cannabis, everybody knows where it is at all times and it's safe and only the right people can open the lockers and all the rest of that. But I think the idea of being able to describe the problem and your solution more quickly so you can concentrate more on the business would be the advice that I would, when you see pitch times that are in the 3 to 5 minute range, and you really got to be crisp on the product solution so that you can spend, you know, 3 of the 5 minutes, or at least 2.5 of the 5 minutes on the business. So let's make sure that we can actually unmute.
And Lindsay, I can jump in on Jeff's comment.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, if we can unmute Lindsay so she can actually speak. Yeah. There we are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There we go.
Yes, thank you. That's great feedback. Yeah, I definitely got flustered by the inability to open that up immediately, but definitely, yes, less time on the problem, or sort of a more quick through, because yeah, that's really where the heart of our pitch deck is, in, you know, the company itself. So thank you for that.
So keep in mind that once you're talking to the investors, what's really, really important to the investors is the business model and the revenue model. Once they're smart people, they're going to get the problem, the solution really, really fast. But then they really do want to get more in the weeds of, you know, how are you going to make money? Because if you make money, we make money, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty crucial. And as much as I do, you know, early on, I recommended using analogies like, you know, we're the Starbucks of blah, 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 or we're the, you know, the Brink meets. Those were great analogies. They were helpful. But I think in this case, what you're doing is pretty simple. I'm not sure. I think that cluttered actually the presentation quite a lot. And I'm wondering if you would benefit from just a use case scenario. Pull out the app, put in the order, go to the locker, use my credit card, pick it up and go. I've avoided the 40-minute line plus parking plus, I mean, or whatever, all the issues. Maybe a use case scenario to show how quick, simple, easy, user-friendly. I think ordering on our phones, we do it all, the same thing. It's become kind of a common usage, right? Kind of like what we were saying to Beza, we understand the problem. We understand how to order with our phones. So that could save you a ton of time right there.
Anybody who's listening to a pitch about cannabis is going to understand there's a ton of regulations.
Okay.
And they got to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, just saying, hey, we help everybody comply with regulations. They're going to say, all right, if I want to know more, I'll ask about the particulars. But but I think to Judy's point, just.
Yeah, and you've got a specific industry positioning piece with cannabis. So as soon as you say the word cannabis, investors are going to go like, I don't do that because it's not the way I grew up and I would never touch the stuff myself, right? Like, so they're checked out. Like, you have to just decide you don't care about them. They don't care they're not going to be interested. There's nothing you're going to do or say that's going to get them interested. But for all the rest of us, we're going to go, cannabis, new industry, huge margins. Like, no, there's no huge players. It's it's an untapped market. Like, there's all kinds of upside.
Right, and the fact that you aren't actually involved in the buying and the selling, you're just you're part of the marketplace. You are the picks and shovels of the cannabis industry.
Right,
So,
and it looks to me like you've got something that overcomes a bunch of the regulation, right? You're not like you're all of a sudden taking the whole end user transportation component out of it. Like that ends up being a big part of the clunky regulation. So
exactly,
you can realize you're never going to convince the people who aren't interested in cannabis. But for the rest of us, like, get on with it. We already know it's sort of a big deal and we want to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
so maybe stop sharing so we can actually see you again.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody.
Also, the slides were great. Again, that's like a set of slides that were just really clean, easy to see. There was nice contrast in the colors on this one. They weren't super cluttered. Good set of slides too.
Yeah, and your demeanor was good too. You were speaking, quickly, but not so fast that we couldn't understand it or that you seemed rushed. Even when the pressure got on, you sped up a little bit, but it wasn't crazy. It was good pace of presentation.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Great. All right. So
up next, Greg, are you ready?
I think I am.
Okay, awesome. So
I'll give one more shameless plug just so you guys can see that I'm not actually holding on to this. And we'll dive in then. All right, here we go. Let's see, why is this not full screen? All right. I'm gonna kill my video here. Well, I guess I can't. But anyway, all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Fruhler, and I'm president of Freeform. Having had rental property and being a homeowner, it seems like I was always painting, and it made my hands cramp and ache. The traditional paintbrush design forces the user's hand into what's known as a pinch grip. The pinch grip causes a chain reaction of tensing muscles from the fingers all the way to the neck. It's like driving your car with an emergency brake on. As an industrial designer, I knew I had to solve this problem. 3 years and over 100 prototypes later, the result is the patented grip-free paintbrush. It allows the fingers and hand to relax for truly pain-free painting. Worldwide, the paintbrush market is 5.7 billion, and Freeform is poised to become the new industry standard. Sales of the grip-free paintbrush are focused solely on the DIY or do-it-yourself market. There are 300,000 professional painters in the US. There are 200 million homeowners. We are specifically targeting women and millennials. Both women and millennials seek out ergonomics and innovation rather than tying themselves to traditional ways. We have a strong team in place. I've launched numerous products of my own design and invention, including some bestsellers in their categories. And our team has over 60 years of combined sales and marketing experience. We have rep groups in place for all major retailers, and we are currently building a nationwide rep force in regional markets. We have a master distributor in Houston, Texas, VLC Distribution. VLC purchases our inventory FOB China, and they pay us in advance. This means we do not come out of pocket for inventory, and this is huge. We've mitigated our risk, and it lessens the amount of debt and investment necessary. We have a commitment for over 1,900 Walmart stores in 2021, and we're an approved vendor with ACE, and we're growing regionally and nationally on a weekly basis. We have a partnership with the world's second largest brush manufacturer in Shanghai. They make brushes for Purdy, Worcester, Home Depot, and others. They love freeform and are a great asset to our team. The grit-free paintbrush has a high perceived value, yet is surprisingly inexpensive to manufacture. The suggested retail price is just $7.99. We're positioning the grit-free paintbrush to compete with private label brands from Home Depot, Lowe's, and Ace. The grit-free paintbrush is just our MVP, and it's just the beginning. We are seeking $600,000 for a 10% equity stake in Freeform. We are projecting a 20x return in 5 years. So let's get together and change the painting experience from pain to satisfaction.
All right. Again, we didn't get to the end. But when you were talking on that slide there you go. See, advance to the moneymaker. That's good.
Let's take Greg off mute now. So Greg, you're still on mute. You got muted at the end of your 3 minutes, so you're gonna have to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I was, I guess I was focused so much on the script that I forgot to hit the key button here to go up and down on my slides. So yeah, I missed quite a few of my slides there.
That happens. You get so caught up in what you're saying, and then you forget to move the slides along. That was the question I had for you: is were there any other slides?
Yeah. So
it stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So great. You know, it was a good pitch. It's compelling. There's some key elements missing. That being said,
okay.
Again, can you please go back on the margin, the one that highlights the margins and the. So you're far enough along, Greg, where I think sharing a bit more financial information, revenue information would be interesting. It sounds like you're already selling product. You've got traction. I want to see, like, what are we talking about? Like, how many have you sold? How much are you making?
Well, we're still kind of, I'm not going to call us pre-revenue. We have a purchase order in. We're in production, but we haven't actually had retail sales at this moment. Okay, got it. But projections would be interesting because you're so close to launching and getting into the market. It would be nice to have a little snapshot of that. As you know, what are we looking at? What are these sales going to look like? Yeah, I don't know if I think in this particular presentation, because it was 3 minutes, I cut that slide out. But I do have that in sales, units, and store count. Okay, great. And keeping in mind that, investors know and acknowledge and accept very, very clearly that projections are, they're going to be wrong, right? Right. That. Yeah. But they want to see your thought process behind those, right? They want to see, how did you come to those numbers? So, and to your point, you've looked at how many stores, average amount of sales in the paintbrush industry. Like you're going to make, someone mentioned in the chat, some assumptions to get to your numbers. But they just want to see how you're thinking and if the way you're thinking this through makes sense. Yeah. And another piece that that's really, really important here is, so you have, this is a piece, this is, a hard product. What's the go-to-market strategy? How are you going to do these sales? So you've got some accounts lined up, but how are people going to know what this product is when they see it? What's your sales and marketing plan? So this is something you do. I would start sharing. Again, you're far enough along where sharing the strategy around that would be helpful, again, to give investors comfort that you guys can pull this off. You've got a strategy in place, you've got a plan in place, you've worked on a sales and marketing plan, and what are the key elements from that you can highlight and showcase here to give us additional comfort there. Okay. And Jeff and Misty, do you guys have any additional feedback?
Yeah, so the one thing I can't tell you how many times I've been in presentations where the product is patented. And just putting up, US patent, put your number on the slide right next to where it says that, because you will have a bunch of geeks in the room that hop on the internet and look it up. And just, it doesn't take, you don't even have to talk about it, just has to be there. So throw the patent, the issued patent number right there next to your claim of an issued patent.
Sure.
And if you, I really liked the fact that you talked about your cash flow, that these guys are buying at FOB in China and that they're paying up front. As a person who typically likes to invest in really capital efficient companies, AKA software, SaaS, that kind of thing. And I usually, my gut reaction to products is always, it's going to take $1 billion to get this thing to market. The fact that you're not doing that is a big deal. And it's something that you did call out, and you should make it as obvious as possible. It'll get people that normally wouldn't pay attention to a product company to actually pay attention to it.
Oh, that's good.
So that was good. And I don't know whether, the idea of how you're educating people what the paintbrush does. I don't know, I thought it was, as soon as you put the pincher thing, I got it right away. You didn't spend much time on it. Maybe you spent a little more time than you had to, but it was, all in all, I thought was pretty good. I think the big miss on this particular presentation was that you had more slides that you were talking to, and you just didn't advance the slides.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you might have been able to put in that if you'd have been advancing the slides, you might have slipped in another one with the nice hockey stick curve of the projected sales and all the rest of that stuff. But,
Yeah, and like I said, that is in my pitch, but because of the time constraint of the 3 minutes, that's one that I sacrificed.
Yeah.
And so
those are my things. I thought all in all, it was you covered all the mostly important stuff, and the slides look good. And it's an idea people I didn't get right away. So
Yeah.
even for somebody like me who hates to paint, I don't think that you would inspire me to paint, but I still think it's pretty cool.
Well, I think this market in particular is the exact opposite of the last one we saw, which is always fun when you get to see a couple of things back to back that are really unique and different like this. So cannabis, brand new market, like, entirely different than anything we've seen. You're talking about a super mature market. You're introducing a new product and a new idea on top of something that's been around forever, where the competition's really mature. There's good and bad for that. I can tell you, as you were coming through your slides, every single slide, I got more excited, right? So in that last slide that you showed, the moment you said, like, you're not out of pocket, my little cash is king, thing went off the charts. That was the most amazing thing. And then I wanted you to go right to the next slide from there. That's the most interesting thing you're going to see on that whole slide. I agree totally with Jeff. Put your patent number on there. Let people go look it up, because people actually like to do that. And somebody's going to ask you another question. You're going to have to describe it anyway. And that's not where you want to spend your time. People can go figure that out outside of the investor conversation. But yeah, make sure you go ahead and get to that next slide, because it was really building in a super nice way.
yeah, I'm obviously disappointed that I didn't do that.
Well, I think you're pitching to StartUpNV next week, Greg, so you have a chance to recover.
Yeah, I'm glad this happened now.
Little pitch practice.
Yeah, that'll be a pain point for me to remember.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a couple of patent attorneys in the audience. So,
good.
Putting your patent number on there, I guarantee you they're going to be looking it up.
All right.
Yeah, Greg, it's Maggie. I just reviewed your deck again today, and I did suggest taking some of those extra images off. Some of your slides are a little too busy, so I gave you advice on that. And you didn't get to your ask slide, because I think that this crew would actually find your ask kind of interesting.
Do we have a minute? Can we throw it up?
Yeah, go ahead and share again, Greg.
Oh, okay. So somehow I
stopped you from sharing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the whole screen went away for a second there. Okay.
Yeah, so get to your ask because I'm interested in what the other angels would say.
So this is our ask here. And the reason,
What's the company valued at?
Well, 10%,
well,
10%.
6 million. No,
Excellent.
yeah.
So it's a
million.
price round.
So you're
Right, but a lot of times an entrepreneur doesn't always make that connection. So that's why I wanted him to say it.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's
okay.
the math automatically in my head. Oh, it's $6 million. Is that post money or pre money? That's the only question I would ask, right? So,
yeah, I mean, we obviously we're pre-revenue, but this is
the only thing that jumps out at me on this slide is payroll at 36% of the money is a big chunk for you know, a first round. But on
Well,
the
to
other,
me, you're blending things, right? So sales and marketing, yep, that's what I expect to see. Design, engineering, tooling, and patents. I usually see those broken out just a tiny bit differently, but you know, like part of that is equipment and your process for scaling versus your legal. But then payroll probably is something. It's not just money for nothing. That payroll is probably going to solve some problem. It's part of your risk mitigation. It's part of sales and marketing. It's part of like that payroll thing is probably paying for some benefit.
yeah, it jumps off the slide.
It's just messy.
Yeah, it jumps off the slide at me as an early investor saying, wow, this early and we've already got that much payroll. Wow.
It's because part of this is if you think about, normally payroll is a percentage of what is sales or whatever, or whatever you want to call it, costs. Our costs, we're not having inventory costs. And, so a normal business, if we had inventory costs, that number would be diluted to a fraction of what it is. It's a bigger number because the big inventory number isn't in there.
And also maybe you can justify it, Greg. I mean, are there any specific hires that you intend to onboard as a result of the funding?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, our VP of sales.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. So instead of payroll, I would say, hiring the VP of sales, like actually naming the person. And back to my point earlier about, okay, so you've thought through your sales and marketing plan, and part of it is hiring the VP of sales, right? To be able to manage that and make sure that your go-to-market strategy plays out. And that's important. That justifies that much on payroll, because that's if you don't have sales, you don't have a business, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if someone told you you didn't have permission to use that way, payroll 36%, how would you allocate that 36%? Otherwise, like, would it be all 36% would go to sales and marketing? Because then it's in the sweet spot of what I always just look for on a deck. I'm always looking for the sales and marketing to be 2/3 to 3/4 of the full ask.
We would definitely bump sales and marketing in a heartbeat, but we're prepared to reinvest our revenues. In fact, we had a conversation with VLC today. VLC is the largest seller of watches on Amazon. And they're going to be helping with our Amazon business, and we're reinvesting 100% back into the Vine program and marketing on Amazon. So, we want to build a following. We want to build a social media presence. We want to get people talking about the product. So, yeah, I'm all for.
So let me just ask the same question in just a different way. Of that 36% that you've got allocated to payroll right now, how much of that 36% is really a sales and marketing expense?
That's probably a third or more.
So then your sales and marketing part would be 40 or 42%?
Sure.
That payroll amount would be less. I would definitely make that change.
Yep.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Because that's a big red flag for early stage investors when they see a big payroll number. just, I mean, you almost know when you're investing in a product company, which is why a lot of us are scared of product companies about the inventory. So payroll is the other thing we get scared about.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I've taken, you know, it's just not too anecdotally here, but I've put in with my COO that my salary is going to be bare bones until we hit our numbers with Walmart. We meet or exceed their expectations, at which point we're comfortable that they're going to continue and the product is selling, at which point we can bump it up slowly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what we expect to see. But if I see payroll, my next question is usually whose salaries and how much?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
Those are my next questions. And that's not a good place. That's not a place you want to spend time.
Yeah, no, understood. Okay. Well, I appreciate that input. That's really big for the
all right,
presentation.
so I'm gonna push us along now. Awesome
Sure.
job, Greg.
Great job. It's a good
Oh,
job.
well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, let's hear about Life Back. Steve, there he is. He's coming on the camera.
Here I am. How are we all? Thanks for hanging on to the end of the night, I guess.
There you go. You're batting cleanup. You got to wow us.
Let me see if I can try that. Firstly, this is a web page, so I can give you a password and you get access to all the data that's in here. So I'll be using my main pitch, but skipping through it fairly quickly. Just give me a moment and I will share it. Can you all see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm Steve Jones. I'm the CEO and founder of LifeBack. LifeBack is a way to moderate your drinking without abstinence or shame. The problem is there's 33 million US adults with AUD in the US. 90% of them will never seek treatment because they believe the cure is worse than the disease. The big problems they have is facing a lifetime of abstinence and the alcoholic label and stigma. Of those people who do go to the current treatments, less than 10% succeed. So we have a private and no abstinence program. We have telemedicine, medication delivered. The medication totally removes alcohol cravings in 92% of people, allowing them to go back to meet their goals. It's totally private, it's empowering. They get to use our tools to meet their goals. No abstinence, no shame or stigma, no group meetings, and they all save several $100s up to $1,000 a month. The US market is currently, rehab is a $35 billion market, and remember that in the US, and remember that that's only on the 10% of people who actually attend. There's 60 million who binge drink or heavy drink, and of those, 30 million have AUD. And so we're targeting the 30 million, but our audience is up to the 60 million. Our product is, just quickly, these are from University of Pennsylvania. The medication we use, baclofen. You can see before, without treatment, the brain lighting up there, and with treatment, it gets rid of all those signals. We have access to Dr. Adi Jaffe, who is a renowned psychology addiction expert, and modern technology. Now, quickly, our business model. LifeBack is a monthly subscription of $149 a month. The European experience shows that only 20% of people can go off the medication at any point without going back to their old habits. So we have a long retention subscription model. Competition, LifeBack is affordable and effective. AA is affordable but fairly ineffective, less than 10%. Rehab is an expensive way of doing the AA. There's other treatments like Vivitrol, naltrexone, which is an injection. It's $1,000 a month, which makes it effective, but still expensive. We have a bunch of competitive advantages. The biggest one is we have some patents pending on using baclofen for alcohol treatment and also using the app.
30 seconds.
We have all of our financials here. The big thing is we're looking at 50 million in year 4, EBIT 138 million in year 5. Traction and scaling. Currently, we have 985 invoice clients in September, 1.75 million ARR, 364% growth. You can see what we're doing there. We've been going for a year. We've got lots of good testimonials. We're doing a safe 2 million investment opportunity, 1.1 million committed, 900 grand available.
Good job, Steve. That was you got the ask in. That's you got there.
Yeah. Speaking quickly, but there's some big numbers there and some big points to get over to you guys. So
no, you're definitely sharing a ton of info. I mean, I can see how this would be more of a 10-minute pitch for sure, which is more the standard when you're pitching to an actual angel group. Just quick clarification question. So what you're offering is the app and the subscription service through the app and the delivery of the medicine with a telemedicine component. You're not actually manufacturing the medication or producing the medication in any way.
No, the medication is generic and is prescribed off-label in the US. It's FDA approved for muscle spasticity and that sort of thing. We have a pharmacy who's doing a great job right now. They're in 22 states. We're about to start following them through on those states. They've got 3 24-hour pharmacies. They pump it out. It takes 3 days to get the medication. And so when somebody comes in, they have a telemedicine visit with a doctor. They fill a complete our onboarding form, telemedicine visit with the doctor. The medication leaves within 24 hours. And then we have coaches to help people through the habit side of it and to help them set their goals and to help them achieve what they need to achieve. We've also got in the app an online community because these people, and I know these people because it was me, that's how I came across this, can talk to somebody, talk to people like them because they can't talk to their family and friends. Unfortunately, there's 3 kinds of drinkers in this world, according to the community.
Hey, Steve, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yep.
So you're taking up all of the time that we have to give you feedback with telling us.
Okay, sorry.
Product. And actually what you're sharing is wonderful and great. And I would not hesitate to use a personal story if it's one you're willing to share and work that into your comments, because people really connect with that part of that. But you're missing the feedback part.
Yep, over talking.
It's okay. It's okay. So it's all good information, but it's a very multifaceted platform. I think some clarification. So you've got the doctors involved, the coaches, the community, the users, the end users, the community, the subscribers. Maybe, I don't know how you feel, Jeff and Misty, but maybe some clarification on all these different groups that are involved in the workings of this platform.
I mean, I'd want to know. I don't think I would try to stick it into this short of a presentation. I think that would be a question that gets asked.
Yeah.
The 2 things that I wrote down well, one is a comment and the other I would want to see covered. The comment I have is safe. As soon as I see that word and I'm not in the Bay Area, I check out. As soon as I see safe. It's really, really hard to get investor groups to engage outside of Silicon Valley on a safe. Convertible note, yep. Preferred stock, yep. Safes, it's hard. It's a hard sell. And then the other thing I had was moat. Do you have a moat? You said you had some patent pending things, but the drug is not patentable. So, I would want to understand better why couldn't the pharmacy that you're working with just come in and do this? So you mentioned patent, which got me thinking along those lines. But I'd probably want to know more about that. But I mean, you did get a lot of information in the 3 minutes. You have the most traction of anybody we've heard from tonight, which is good, and you seem to be on a good trajectory. Your numbers. I liked your slide of showing your growth rates, because for a company in your stage asking for the level of money you're looking for, you got to have a graph that looks like that, where you're doubling and tripling month over month, quarter over quarter.
Can you go down just a little so we can see what the difference is in those numbers?
Um,
I don't know what's the blue versus the green.
No, on the bars.
On the bars, that's just the percentage growth per month.
Percentage growth per month. Oh, gotcha.
In revenue, and so what it really means, we're building a subscriber database. So pretty much the green is building that subscriber database, and the blue is the pretty much the new customers.
The growth, yeah, each month.
Yeah, can you go back to your competition slide? I just want to use this one as an example. So, you know, we often see it as a matrix, or we see it this way, and this is smart. You know, you probably can put a few more things on here, but the thing I want to draw attention to is if you're trying to be disruptive in a marketplace, you've got to be able to do three things. You have to be able to beat your competition on speed, quality, and price. And so here you see the ineffective versus effective, that's a measure of quality. And the expensive versus affordable is a measure of price. So Steve, this isn't really for your benefit. This is for everybody else's benefit. So this is just a really smart slide, and it's a great way to show how you compare to your competition on these two big variables. I'm guessing the Vivitrol is could be an option for like the long-term exit plan. You know, that's the other thing we kind of look for in a competition slide, is competition usually gives you a hint at what the exit could look like. But I don't know if that works for this or not, or what, like, I didn't hear anything about like how you get out of this part, but it's usually you get consumed by something bigger. It's a health and wellness thing. It's Mothers Against Drunk Driving buys it, like, I don't know, something like that.
In this case, it's most of the rehabs are owned by private equity. They're getting $30,000 a month for a bed, and so we're expecting to sell into private equity in a few years, because we're hoping to be a big thorn in their side at $150 a month compared to 30,000.
So that's an interesting. So now you're saying something interesting, which usually results in a product getting shelved. So if private equity buys you out to protect the rehab market, they're gonna bury this in a deep hole.
It could be for to protect their own market, but it can also be a way of looking after people after they've left the rehab. So it's an ongoing, but introduced while you're in rehab, and you're doing all the things they're doing in rehab, which is basically leaving you alone with AA when you come out. Now you can they can introduce the medication in there, and they've got a whole platform to be able to manage it afterwards. Mm-hmm. And also for people without health insurance, because they're only interested in people with health insurance.
All right.
So we're starting to see more of these like slides done as websites. It's an interesting play just by itself. Just one more comment on overall slide presentation, whatever. The slides are very nice. And this to me looks like it's pseudo built-in deal room, right? There was a place there, like I'm hoping that people that I can't go to this lifebackpitch.com and see all of this information, including download your 5 years of financials and, you know, other
not without a password.
Yeah.
And
but then that's smart, right? You can give people a lot of access, and you can give investors a way to share.
Also, I can see
you're making it easy for somebody to say yes.
Yeah, and I can look at who's looking at it and who's not, and who hasn't looked at the pitch in a week, and who looked at it today, and I can hit them up that day if they've looked at it 2 or 3 times that day, that sort of thing.
And for those of our audience members that are looking at this is something that after you're raising money, you have to do this sort of thing at some point anyway. You have to create a deal room. You have to load up all your docs for your due diligence. You know, Steve's already done it. It's already there. So that when somebody wants to say, let's sign an NDA and let's get going, it's already set up. So
as a part of this too, so I've got these tabs at the top which are clickable with information on the current rehab, all of the clinical studies in Europe that how all of this works, the 5-year financials, and a copy of the safe.
We have Steve, one of our other founders is asking, what platform did you use to create this?
Oh, it's just we just built. It's just a website. I'm not actually sure what platform they use to build it. It's a hand-built website though.
Oh, good luck, everybody.
We've got a. But you can
there's a site out there called DocSend, DocSend. That's one of the companies that does this kind of stuff. you know, Carta has your cap table. They don't have all of the deal rooms. They have some deal room stuff, but they don't track it as well as DocSend does. But it's a combination of a company like Carta, who's one of our sponsors, awesome company, and DocSend.
So and again, you know, I totally recognize that this is just a 3-minute pitch, so hard to include all of the info. And it sounds like since you already raised some money, Steve, that I'm sure you have your 10-minute pitch all ready to go as well. I'm super interested again in how, not the go-to-market strategy, you're already in the market, there's traction, but how, you know, your sales and marketing plan again. Are you, you know, what does the sales team look like? What are they doing? What are they, how are they getting, onboarding the doctors? How are you onboarding the users? How are you onboarding the coaches? How does that all work together? That's one way that.
It's not a question, that's like feedback for you to go think about, make sure you incorporate in the next round.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that's in questions too afterwards. People have a lot of questions afterwards as well about the specific parts that they want. Just very quickly, the very cool thing we've got is we've got like an Uberization of our doctors. So we don't have doctors employed. They're paid $20 to $30 for a consultation, which takes 15 minutes. And in a state that we're in, we can take multiple doctors, whatever time, or nurse practitioners, if they're free on Wednesday afternoons or Saturday mornings, and they just put their times in there, and the patients as they come in can choose who they want to be with. So, yeah.
So you have, I understand that the platform is in place, that it can accommodate what you're trying to do, but it's more about the big problem that I see with a lot of our startups, right, as they're growing is how to acquire how do the nurses know to find your platform, get on there and put in their hours and their time and so on and so forth. So just how are you reaching all the different stakeholders that are involved in this platform? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So,
and I'll ask you one question, Steve, and then it builds on the one piece of feedback I had about the safe. Sorry, I keep coming back to that. You're kind of boxing yourself in by announcing in advance that you want to do a deal on a safe, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'm raising, I can't remember what it was, $2 million. And even if you want to state a value or imply a value, or say it's on a convertible note or a safe, I mean, just by boxing yourself into a safe, you're going to automatically eliminate some people.
Well, so Steve, have you already raised some money on the safe?
Yeah, we've raised 1.1 million so far.
So,
and,
well, so, okay, so if you've already raised the money on that, with that vehicle, I think,
yeah, you're kind of stuck with it now.
You're gonna have to keep going with it. But you know, Jeff, you know, interestingly, I totally know where you're coming from. We saw some backlash on the safes even a year ago. But it's even in San Luis Obispo, more and more of our startups are going that route. And to your point, in the Bay Area, it's pretty much a given that that's the route that most startups are taking right now. As it's definitely a majority pathway now. The safe, yeah, yeah.
I worked it out with my investment banker. He thinks it's a good run, and it's used quite a bit overseas. In fact, the owner of Shark Tank Australia hunted me down, and we're just at the end of due diligence with him. So we've been through 3 meetings and all that sort of stuff. So I got a meeting with him, a review.
Well, they've become more flexible. Y Combinator came out with, I think, 6 models of safes where they're allowing for valuation caps. They're allowing for, they've added terms to it. So, I mean, it's actually looking more and more like a convertible note, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. So we're at a point where, you know.
Yeah, if it's really a convertible note by another name, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. The thing that we don't like about safes, so San Diego doesn't like safes either. Boise doesn't like safes. Austin doesn't like.
Nevada, they will throw up.
Like they, but what we don't like is safes are great for entrepreneurs. And they're not great for investors. And these new safes are putting some of those protections back for investors and some of those sort of clawbacks and things. But you know, most of us have been taught, and in San Diego, at least, we still teach investors, and probably for the Angel Conference for Nevada, through this process, we will probably teach investors to run from safes.
Yeah. Well, Bill Payne
is so like laugh and run away. That's the first answer we always say. Like somebody says safe, laugh and run away. That's your job as an investor. Like get away from those. Like we're trying to get in entrepreneurs to quit doing that. It's great for somebody like Techstars where they're just looking at churn. Man, they just want to see 100, 1,000, 10,000 deals come through. And all they're really doing is they're buying the privilege to be able to participate in the next round. But in places where we don't have that, non-primary markets like Nevada, it's just tougher. It's just a lot tougher to get in on a safe. So.
Yeah, it's the investors that don't like them. The founders are okay with them. It makes your balance sheet look better. There's a lot of reasons to like them as an investor, as a founder. But like Misty said, the investors don't like them because they don't have the protections in them that, I mean, there's a lot of investors who won't even do a convertible note. They want to go straight to a preferred round. But the convertible notes have enough history and enough protection that the safes, and I hope Judy's right. I hope they're right.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to disagree. I'm seeing more and more of them. I think
you're closer to the Bay Area than the rest of us.
I am, and it's definitely feeling the influence for sure. But again, like they've added terms to these safes where, to the point where investors are getting the protections that they were not getting when the safe first came out. So there's more comfort there. But,
all right. Well, I'm gonna stop us from geeking out too much on the safes, our own internal. And this is a good lesson for all of the founders on the call, is that you've got 3 investors here, at least, that have 3 completely different opinions about the same subject. Yeah. So, and then Steve's kind of looking back and forth between us going, WTF? I mean, you guys are supposed to be giving me feedback and it's all different. So that's a real life example of how life is out there. So, and in the meantime, Steve's saying, yeah, the guy from Australia chased me down. He was okay with the safe. So good. Raise your money.
He accepted. He's yeah. All his quibble was that the valuation cap may be a little high, and that the discount, but the discount's very generous. So he's. Yeah.
You're on the high end of the discount, but you're on a super high end on the valuation for sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Any other feedback, Misty or Judy, or should we bring it in for a landing?
Well, I think Maggie had a couple questions to the panelists, and I think Judy, they're for you. So they're on a couple of the speakers that are coming up that are speakers that you know better than the rest of us. So if you want to take a quick look at that.
I sent it to you, Misty. So the questions
sorry, Judy.
were the founders seem to have a lot of questions about safes and deal terms, things like that. And which of our upcoming speakers is actually going to be dealing with that? Is that Josh or is it Rolando?
Josh Giffon, yes.
Okay, so that doesn't happen until December 1st. So everybody tune in again on December 1st. November 3rd, is it? We're having Rolando Loci, and he's going to be talking about business plan development.
Yes, financials. And what I love about Rolando is he's really good about tying your metrics to your financials so that they make sense. So basically tying the business model to the revenue model. What are your KPIs? What should they be? How are you going to measure? Let's make sure you pick the right metrics to track, and how relevant are they for you to achieve your goals, the goals that you've set in your projections, and where you're wanting to take the business from a revenue perspective. So really important talk in November. I encourage everyone to attend. And in December, Josh Giffon, corporate and securities attorney. He's got 20 plus years of experience. He's a great speaker. He's so good at talk about someone who can take complicated legal jargon and make it simple and understandable and digestible. He will talk about safe notes. So I think, we'll hear from him about that, and convertible notes as well. Series C deals, term sheets, what does it all look like? In preparation for the December session, maybe we'll talk about it in November, there is a book that I'd like to recommend that we hand out to all the startups who are in our incubator program. It's called Venture Deals by Brad.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
It's the best book. I'm originally a corporate and securities attorney. There it is.
Just happen to have it on my desk to take it.
My favorite book for startup founders because it gets you familiar with the language. It's written in a way, it's written by a non-attorney, which I think is great because it does simplify the jargon and it gives you a full and complete picture from start to finish. What does it mean to issue common stock to the founder? What is a stock option and how does it affect the cap table? How is your note going to convert and how is it going to dilute everyone? What does dilution mean and how does it work over time? How all these things, all these elements that you're putting in place at the start of your business are going to be really crucial in the long term because everything is a trigger to the next thing as you're raising money. So Venture Deals by Brad Felt, excellent book. And then it'll give you, if you can read that book before the December session, then December will just feel really comfortable and super useful.
Right.
Yep. We gave that book to all of our angels last year. So that was last year's book. The year before we did Angel Investing by David Rose.
Yeah.
One more quick note, I dropped in the chat the San Diego Angel Conference website, the events page. Tomorrow night, we have valuation cap tables, term sheets from both financial and legal perspective. So if you're curious about this stuff, the speakers tomorrow night, it's DLA Piper and Vantage Point Advisors. And Kristen Fox is leading the conversation and she's just brilliant on this stuff. She was actually, we brought her to Nevada. She talked to the Women Angels group that Maggie organized a few months ago. So she'll be part of our lineup for tomorrow. So our events are free and you can find them on that website too. And Jeff and Maggie gave me permission to share that with you. So you can come hang out at all our events, but definitely apply for the Nevada conference.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell we're all geeking out on the same stuff with this venture. I mean, I had my presentation for my UNR class. Has this book as the recommendation, all these terms and term sheets are things that we teach into the college students as well. So there's the book. You saw not sure how I skipped over those things at the beginning, the upcoming speakers, but you saw them briefly on the slides and you've seen them in the chat. So next session is election night. So come hang with us so that we're not all like, people who are nervous about it aren't chewing their nails. Can hang with us for a few hours. Hopefully by the time we're done, we got a beat on what's happening next, even if it's not fully decided. So, and whether you want to cry or cheer, we'll all be here together.